this opportunity to recognize the many generous benefactors of Samford School of the Arts, including Michael J. and Marion Freeman, who are with us this evening. We invite you all to join us after the production for a reception hosted by the Freemans in honor of our cast and crew. For more information about how you can become a friend of Samford Arts, visit our website at arts.samford.edu. Now I'd like you all to join me in a moment of silence. Silencing yourself on set is. So go ahead and pull out anything that leaps and bits and lights up and turn it off. I'll wait.
He's so cute.
Get you in a silver jacket. Alright, there you go. Now, please note, the exit you see behind me is not a real exit. In case of emergency, you will be stuck. To the right of you and to the left of you are the real exits. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy 12 Angry Jurors.
Murder in the first degree. Premeditated homicide is most serious charge in our criminal courts. You have heard a long and complex case, ladies and gentlemen, and it is now your duty to sit down and try to separate the facts from the fantasy. One man is dead. The life of another is at stake. If there is a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, then you must declare him not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then he must be found guilty. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You are faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
The jury will retire.
He doesn't stand a chance.
Should we go? Go. You know something? I know lots of things. I'm in advertising. It's hot. You know, I never would have known that if she hadn't told me, would you? This one, all I've done all day is perspire.
Bet you aren't perspiring like that boy who's tried.
You'd think they'd have this air conditioner place. I almost died in court. You know, my taxes are high enough. You know, this should go fast anyways.
It's hot.
All right, everybody's here. If there's anything else you want, I'm right outside. Just knock.
She locked the door.
Yes, she did.
What does she think we are, crooks?
They locked us up for a little
And then
while.
they locked that boy up forever. That's all right with me.
What do you think was that?
They locked the door. What do you think?
I just didn't know. Never occurred to me.
Let's admit, it's hot and humid and our tempers are short.
It's pretty hard.
I feel just fine.
Wonder what's been going on down at the office. You know how it is in advertising. 6 days of my job could be gone, and the whole company too. They aren't gonna like this.
Well, I think it's our duty.
I didn't object to doing my duty. I just said I might not have a job by the time I get back.
Ask her. She's rich. I bet her husband can find you a wonderful job. Look at that outfit.
Is it an original?
Yes, it is.
I have it on. It makes dresses.
How does she do?
Oh, not too well. You know, a friend of hers, that's a friend of mine, offered us Samford. Well, this friend wanted to be on this jury in my place.
Why did you let her? I'd have done anything to miss this.
And get caught or something? Do you know what kind of fine you could pay for a thing like that? Anyway, this friend of my aunt was on a jury once about 10 years ago, and it was just like this one. So, what happened?
They let him off. Reasonable doubt. You know what? About 8 years later, they found out he'd actually done it anyway. A guilty man, a murderer, turned loose on the streets.
Horrible.
Think you did?
Well, they couldn't.
Why not?
Nobody can be held in double jeopardy. Unless it's a hung jury, they can't try anyone twice for the same crime. That isn't gonna happen here.
6 days. They should have finished it in 2. Talk, talk, talk. Do you ever hear so much talking about nothing?
I mean, I guess they're entitled.
Everyone gets a fair trial. That's the system. Well, I suppose you can't say anything against it.
How'd you like that business about the knife? Did you ever in your life hear such a story?
Well, you have to expect that. You know what you're dealing with.
What a switchblade that night.
Yeah, and then he claimed he lost it.
A hole in his
A
pocket.
hole in his father.
Knife in his chest. An awful way to kill your father.
Look at the kind of people they are. You know them.
What's the matter, you got a cold?
Oh, Lulu. These seasonal colds can kill ya.
Oh, I had one last year. My vacation trip.
All right, everyone, let's take seats.
Gotta be fast. I got tickets to Wicked tonight. My husband and I must be the only ones in the whole world who haven't seen it yet. All right, Your Honor, let's start the show.
How about sitting down? The lady at the window, how about sitting down?
Oh, so sorry. It's kind of a figure, isn't it? A boy kills his father. Bing. Just like that. It's this juvenile delinquency. People let their children run wild.
Yeah.
Maybe it serves them right.
Well, there's no point in getting emotional about it. It's a question of evidence, not how we feel.
We all agreed it was hot.
And that our tempers would get short.
That's if we disagree. But this is open and shut. Let's get it done.
All right, now you can handle this any way you want to. I mean, I'm not going to make any rules. If we want to discuss it first and then vote, that's one way. Or we can vote right now and see how we stand.
Let's vote now. Who knows, maybe we can all go home.
Yeah, let's see who's where.
Everyone agreed then? Okay, all those voting guilty, raise your hand. 9, 10, 11. That's 11 for guilty. Not guilty?
What's the matter with you?
11 to 1. 11 guilty, 1 not guilty. Now we know where we stand.
Do you really believe he's not guilty?
I don't know.
After 6 days, she doesn't know.
You know, in 6 days, I can learn calculus. This is ABC.
I don't think it's as simple as
I never
that.
saw a guilty man in my
What
life.
does a guilty man look like? He's not guilty until we say he's guilty. Are we to vote on his face?
You sat right in court and saw the same things as I did. The boy's a dangerous
Where do you
killer.
look to see if someone's a killer? I would like to know. Tell me what the facial characteristics of a killer are. Maybe you know something I don't know.
Look, what is there about the case that makes you think the boy is innocent?
He's 19 years old.
That's old enough. He knifed his own father 4 inches into the chest. An innocent 19-year-old murderer.
Look, I agree with you that the boy is guilty, but I think we should try to avoid emotionally colored arguments.
All right, they proved it a dozen different ways. Do you want me to list them?
No.
Do you believe that stupid story he
Now,
told?
now.
Do you believe
I don't know
the
if I
boy's
believe it or not.
story?
Maybe I don't.
So what did you vote not guilty for?
There were 11 votes for guilty. It's not so easy for me to raise my hand and send a boy off to die without talking about it first.
Who says it's easy for me?
Or me.
No,
He's still just as guilty, whether it's an easy vote or a hard one.
Exactly. Is there something wrong just because I voted
not
fast?
necessarily.
I think the boy's guilty. Couldn't change my mind.
I don't want to change your mind.
All right, what do you want?
I want to talk about it. No, living in the slum. His mom dead since he was 9. He's a tough, angry boy. You know why some children get that way? Because we knock them over the head all the time. I just think that we owe him a few words. That's all.
All right. Life's hard. It was hard for me. Everything we've got, my husband and I fought for. I worked my way through college where I met him, and that was long ago. Perhaps you forget. I fought, yes. My husband fought. But neither of us have ever killed.
Yeah, I know what hard looks like, but I never killed nobody either.
Yeah, I've been kicked around too. Wait until you worked in an ad agency and the guy buying the ad in the Middle East or a site.
Let's try to find something better.
Listen, I don't mind telling you this, sister. We don't owe that boy a thing. He got a fair trial, didn't he? You know what that trial cost? He's lucky he got it. Look, we're all grown-ups here. You're not going to tell us that we're supposed to believe him knowing what he is. I've lived among them all my life. You can't believe a word they say. You know that.
I don't know that. What a terrible thing to believe. Since when is dishonesty a group characteristic? You don't have a monopoly on the
All right,
truth.
save it for Sunday. We don't need a sermon.
What this woman says is very dangerous. I don't see any need for arguing like this. I think we ought to behave like adults.
Right.
Certainly, if you insist. Thank you. Sure.
If we're going to discuss the case, let's discuss the facts.
I think that's a good point. We have a job to do, let's do it.
If you all don't mind, I'm going to close the window.
Serious?
It was blown on my neck,
I'd like to have the window open.
but it was blown on me.
Don't you want a little air? It's hot.
I was very uncomfortable.
It's the only window, if you don't mind.
I have some rights too.
So do the rest of us.
Couldn't you trade seats with someone at the other end of the table?
All right. I will open the window if someone will trade. Thank you.
Shall we get back to the case?
Yeah, let's.
Okay, I may have an idea here. I'm just talking out loud now, but it seems to me that it's up to us to convince this lady that we're right and she's wrong. So maybe if we each talk for a minute or two and try it on for size.
That seems fair enough.
Very fair.
Supposing we go once around the table.
Okay, let's start it off.
All right, I guess you're first.
Well, I just think that he's guilty. I thought it was obvious.
In what way was it obvious?
I mean, nobody proved otherwise.
Somebody has to prove otherwise. Innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof is in the prosecution. The defendant doesn't have to open his mouth. It's in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. You've heard of it.
Everyone has. Sure, I've heard of it. I know what it is. Anyways, I think that he's guilty.
No reasons. Just guilty? There's a life at stake.
Okay, let's get to the facts. Number one, let's take the old man that lives on the floor right underneath the room where the murder took place. At 2 minutes after 12 on the night of the killing, he heard loud noises in the upstairs apartment. He said it sounded like a fight. Then he heard the boy say to his father, "I'm going to kill you." A second later, he heard a body falling. Then he ran to the door of his apartment, looked out, and saw the kid running down the stairs and out of the house. They called the police. They found the father with a knife in his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death at around midnight.
Right. Now, what else do you want?
It doesn't seem to fit.
The boy's whole story is flimsy. He claimed he went to see a movie. It's a little ridiculous, isn't it? He couldn't even remember what picture he saw.
Yeah, you're right. Did you hear that? You're absolutely right.
And there weren't ticket stubs.
But who keeps the ticket stub at the movies?
The cashier didn't remember him either.
Well, the ticket taker didn't either.
Well, what about the woman across the street?
Exactly.
Her testimony
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
then nothing.
That's right, she saw the killing.
Everybody,
Exactly.
let's go in order.
Just a minute. Here's a woman who's lying in bed and can't sleep. It's hot, you know? Anyway, she wakes up and she looks out the window, and right across the street, she sees the boy knife the father.
How can she really be sure it was the boy when she saw through the windows of a passing elevated train?
She's known him all his life. His window was right opposite of hers across the L tracks. She swore she saw him do it. Okay. And they proved in court that you can look through the windows of a passing L train at night and see what's happening on the other side. They proved it.
Weren't you just telling us a minute or two ago that you can't trust them, that you can't believe them?
So,
Well, let me ask you something. How come you believed her? She's one of them too, isn't she?
you're a pretty smart cookie.
Ladies! They did take us to the women's room, and we did look through the windows of a moving L train, didn't we? And weren't you able to see
I
what
didn't see
happened?
as well as they told me I would, but I did see what happened on the other
You
side.
see? You do see.
Let's
Don't.
calm down now. It's your turn.
I'll pass it.
That's your privilege. How about you?
Oh, well, what convinced me was the testimony of the people across the hall. Didn't they say something about a fight that broke out between the boy and his father around 7 o'clock that night?
I think it was 8 o'clock.
They heard the father hit the boy twice, and then saw the boy walk angrily out of the house.
Right.
But what does that prove?
Well, it doesn't exactly prove anything. It's just part of the picture. I didn't say that it proved anything.
Anything else?
No.
I don't know, most of it's been said already. We can talk about this all day. I think we're wasting our time.
I don't.
Neither do I. Go on.
Look at the boy's record. He stole a car for mugging. I think I said once he stabbed somebody in the arm.
You did.
They sent him to a reform school. At 15, he was picked up for knife fighting.
Yeah, and they sent him to reform school for stabbing someone.
This is a very fine boy.
Ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up regularly. He used his fists.
So would I. On a boy like that, I couldn't even see what his father did.
Yeah, you're right. It's the kids nowadays, the way they are. You know, they don't listen. I've got a kid. When he was 8 years old, he ran away from a fight. I saw him. I was so ashamed. I told him right out, I'm going to make a man out of you. I'm going to bust you into little pieces trying. When he's 15, he hits me in the face. He's big enough. I haven't seen him for 3 years. He's a rotten kid. I hate tough kids. You work your heart out and... All right. Let's go on with it.
We're missing the point here. This boy, let's admit, is a product of a broken family and a filthy neighborhood. We can't help that. We're not here to go into reasons why slums are breeding grounds for criminals. They are. I know it, and so do you. The children that come out of slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society.
Yeah, you said it there. I don't want any part of them, believe me.
I've lived in a slum all my life.
Now, wait a minute.
I used to play in a backyard that was filled with garbage. Maybe it still smells on me.
Now, let's be reasonable. There's nothing personal.
There is something personal.
Hey, come on, fella. She didn't mean you. Stop being so sensitive.
Who did she mean?
I can understand the sensitivity. Let's stop bickering. It's your turn.
All right. I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow I felt the defense counsel never really conducted a thorough cross-examination. There were too many questions that were left unasked.
While it doesn't change my opinion about the guilt of the boy, I agree with you that the defense counsel was bad.
So,
This is the point.
what about facts?
There were so many questions that were never answered.
What about the questions that were answered? For instance, let's talk about this cute little switchblade.
Yes.
You know, the one that fine, upright boy admitted to buying.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's bring it in here and look at it. I like to see it again, madam.
We saw the thing once already. I don't see why we have to look at it again. What do you think?
Well, the lady has a right to see exhibits and evidence.
Okay with me.
The knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence, don't you agree? All right. Let's get the sequence of events right as it relates to the knife.
The boy admits to going out of his house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father.
Or punched.
Or punched. He went to the neighborhood store. The following day, the storekeeper was arrested after admitting selling it to the boy.
I think we can agree it's an unusual knife. Pretty hard to forget something like that.
The storekeeper identified the knife and said it was the only one of its kind he had in stock. Why did the boy buy it?
As a present for a friend of his, he says.
Am I right so far?
Right.
Yeah, you bet she's right. But everyone listen to this lady. She knows what she's talking about.
Next, the boy claims that on his way home, the knife must have fallen into a hole in his coat pocket. He says he never saw it again. There's the story. You know what actually happened? He brought the knife home, and a few hours later stabbed his father with it, and even remembered to wipe the fingerprints off. Everyone connected with the case identified this knife. Now, are you trying to tell me that someone picked it up off the street, went to the boy's house, stabbed his father with it just to be amusing?
No, I'm saying that it's possible that the boy lost the knife, and that someone else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It is possible.
Take a look at this knife. It's a very strange knife. I've never seen one like it in my life. Neither had the storekeeper who sold it. Aren't you trying to make us accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
I'm not trying to make anyone accept it. I'm just saying it's possible. Look at
Saying
it.
it's not possible.
Look at this.
What?
What are you trying to do?
Quiet.
Where did you get it from?
I got it around the corner from the boy's house. It cost $2.
And you listen to me.
I'm listening.
Well, the real smart trick you. But you proved absolutely zero. Maybe there are 10 knives like that.
Maybe there are.
The boy lied and you know
And
it.
maybe he didn't lie. Maybe he did lose the knife. And maybe he did go to the movies. Maybe the reason the cashier didn't see him is because he sneaked into the movies and was ashamed to say so. Is there anybody here who didn't sneak into the movies once or twice when they were young?
I didn't.
Not even once.
We didn't have movies.
Maybe he did go to the movies, then maybe he didn't. And he may have lied. Do you think he lied?
That's a stupid question. Sure, he lied.
Do you think he lied?
You don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. He lied.
What about you?
I don't know.
Wait a second. What are you, the boy's lawyer? Listen, there are 11 of us here who still think he's guilty. You're alone. What are you going to accomplish? If you want to be stubborn and hang this jury, then he'll be tried again and found guilty as sure as he's born.
You're probably right.
So what are you going to do about it? We can be here all night.
It's only one night. A man may die.
Come on.
That's true.
I think we ought to get on with it now.
Right, let's get going here.
How do you like this woman?
Well, what do you have to say? You're the one holding up the show.
Obviously, you don't think the boy is guilty.
I have a doubt in my mind.
But you haven't presented us any facts to back up this doubt. Okay, there's the old man downstairs. He heard it. He heard the boy
The
scream
woman
out.
across the L track, she saw
You
it.
know he bought a switch knife that night and you don't know where he really
Exactly.
was. At the movies?
Earlier that night, the boy and his father did have a
Yeah,
fight.
he's been a violent boy all the way, and while that doesn't prove anything,
Still,
I have a proposition to make. I want to call for a vote. I want the 11 of you to vote by a secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there's still 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone, and we can take in a guilty verdict right now.
Okay, let's do it.
Does everyone agree?
yeah.
Let's do it. Perhaps this is best. Guilty. 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 Guilty.
That's 6.
Please. 6 guilty. 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 Not guilty. How do you like that?
Who was it? I think we have a right to know.
Whose life are you talking about? The life of a dead man or the life of a murderer?
I want to know who.
Yes, so do I.
Excuse me, this was a secret ballot.
No one looked while we did it, but now I
A secret ballot. We agreed on that point. No, if that person wanted to
What do you
remain.
mean? There are no secrets in here. I know who it was. What's the matter with you? You come in here and you vote, don't you? And then the slick cookie starts to tear your heart out with stories about a poor little boy who just couldn't help becoming a murderer. So you change your vote. That is the most
Now,
sickening
hold it.
thing.
Look, I agree with you that the boy is guilty, but let's be fair.
Hold it, be fair. That's just what I'm saying. We're trying to put a guilty man in the chair where he belongs. And all of a sudden we're paying attention to fairy
Now,
tales.
just a
Now
minute.
you
Let's
listen
try
to
to
me.
keep this
I've-
organized.
It's not organized, but let's be civilized.
Please, if I could say something here. I have always believed that a person is entitled to unpopular opinions in this country. That is the reason I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree.
Do you disagree with us?
Usually I would. In this one case, I agree with you. But the point that I wish to make is that in my own country, we were not
Now
allowed
what
to
do we have to listen to, the whole history of your country?
It is always wise to bear in mind what has happened in other countries when people aren't allowed to disagree. But we are, so let's stick to the subject.
Yeah, let's stick to the subject. I want to ask you what made you change your
Yes, so
vote.
you haven't told us yet.
What makes you think I did change my
Because I
mind?
do. Now get on with it.
There's nothing for him to tell you. He didn't change his vote. I did.
I was going to tell you. You were so sure of yourself.
Sorry. Okay, now.
Maybe.
Let me tell you
This woman chose to stand alone against us. That's her right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even when you believe in something very strongly. She left the verdict up to us. She gambled for our support, and I gave it to her. I want to hear more. The vote is 10 to 2.
That's fine. Speech is over, let's go on.
If there were any
lifesaver. I would go around here.
I don't see what it is. Neither do I. But they're clutching at straws.
As guilty as they can. As the boy, I suppose. It's that one juror who's holding out. But she'll come around. She's got to. And fundamentally, she's a very reasonable person. I guess so. You know, they haven't given us any facts to back up a non-guilty verdict. It's hard, you know? Yes, it is. And what does guilty beyond a reasonable doubt really mean? I mean, what's a reasonable doubt, Zach? When a life is at stake, what is a reasonable doubt? You've got to have law and order. You've got to draw the line somewhere. If you don't, everyone will go around knifing each other.
Well, there's not much doubt here.
There are two women who seem to think so. And I wonder why. I really wonder why.
You do hear stories sometimes, though, about innocent men who've gone to jail, or even death sometimes, and then years later something turns up.
Then on the other hand, you hear about some killers who get turned loose, and they do it again. They squeeze out some technicality, and they kill again.
Hey, look, buddy, now that we kind of cooled off, why, I got a little excited a minute ago. You know how it is. I didn't mean to get nasty. Nothing personal.
Okay.
But supposing you answered something. The boy didn't kill him, then who did?
As far as I know, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives.
I suppose, but who else had a motive?
The boy's father was a long year. Maybe an old grudge.
Remember, it is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This is an important thing
Everyone's
to
aware.
remember.
Supposing you tell us what your reasonable doubts are.
This is not easy. So far, it's only a feeling I have. A feeling perhaps you don't understand.
No, I don't.
A feeling? Well, what are we going to do, spend the night talking about your feelings?
No,
What about
not
facts?
Took the words right out of my mouth. Look, the old man heard the boy yell, "I'm going to kill you." And a second later, he heard a body falling, and he saw the kid running out of the house 15 seconds after that.
Where's the reasonable doubt in that?
Yeah, and don't forget about the woman across the street. She looked
Yes.
through the open window and
Now,
saw
that's
the
not
boy
enough.
die.
That's
Not for me.
What is enough for you, I would like to know?
How do you like her? It's like talking into a dead
So
bone.
The old woman saw the murder through the windows of a passing elevated train. The train had 5 cars, and she saw it through the windows of the last 2 cars. She remembers the most insignificant details.
Well, what do you have to say about
I
that?
don't know. It doesn't sound right to me.
Well, supposing you think about it.
Well,
Let's play some tic-tac-toe. Might as well pass the time.
this isn't a game.
Wait.
This is a man's
Who
life.
do you think
This
you
is
are?
Come on.
I got a good mind to
Hey, I
slap
want to get fights somewhere.
you. You see her? The nerve. The absolute nerve.
All right, fellas, don't mean nothing.
How about sitting down?
That's his game. Who she thinks she is.
Why are we talking about elevated trains?
Yes, we were. All right. How long does it take for an elevated train going at top speed to pass a given point?
What does that got to do with it?
How long would it take to
I
stop?
wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Neither would I.
Nobody mentioned it.
What do you think?
Well, 10 or 12 seconds maybe.
I'd say that was a fair guess. Does anyone else have?
About 10 seconds, perhaps.
Probably about 10.
All right, 10 seconds. We're agreed. What are you getting at?
This. An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point. That given point is the window of the room in which the killing took place. You can almost reach out of the window of that room and touch the L, right?
That's right, I tried it.
So, well, has any of you ever lived next to the L track?
I live close to it.
They make a lot of noise, don't they? I've lived right by the L track. When your window's open and the train goes by, the noise is almost unbearable. You can't even hear yourself think.
Then get to the
The
point.
old man downstairs heard the boy say,
He didn't say it, he screamed
the old
it.
man heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you." And 1 second later, heard a body fall. 1 second. That's the testimony, right?
How I
So
understood
where are
it.
you going with this?
The last 2 cars. The last 2
What are
cars.
you giving us
An
here?
L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point, or 2 seconds per car. That L had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds, and maybe more before the body fell, according to the woman. The old man would have had to hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," right as the front of the L train was roaring past his nose. It's not possible that he could have heard it.
What do you mean? Sure he could have heard it.
Was an L train going by?
He said the boy yelled it out.
An L train makes a lot of noise.
It's enough for me.
It's enough for me too.
I don't think he could have heard it. I mean, maybe the man didn't hear it with the element. I really don't.
What are people talking about? Are you calling the old man a liar?
Something doesn't fit.
It stands to
Are you
reason.
crazy? Why would he lie? What's he got to gain?
Attention, maybe.
You know, you keep coming up with these bright sayings. Why don't you send one into the newspaper? They'd pay $2.
What does that have to do with a man's life? You have a right to be heard. Why did the old man lie?
It's just, I looked at him for a very long time. The seam of his jacket was split right on his arm. Did you notice that? This was a very old man with a torn jacket. He carried 2 canes. I think I know him better than anyone here. This is a quiet, frightened, insignificant man who has been living all of his life, who has never had any recognition. His name is in the newspaper. Nobody knows him after 75 years. This is a very sad thing. A man like this needs to be questioned, recognized, listened to, and quoted just once. This is very important.
Okay, so you're trying to say that he lied about a thing like this just to be important.
He wouldn't really lie, but he would make himself believe he heard those words and saw the boy's face.
Wow. That's the most fantastic story I've ever heard. How can you make up a thing like that?
I'm not making it up.
You must be making it up. People don't lie about things like that.
He made himself believe he told the truth.
What do you know about it?
I speak from experience.
Okay, anything else? Comments? No, thank you. Anybody? Come on, let's get on with it.
Now, there's something else I want to point out. I think we proved that the old man couldn't have heard the boy say anything.
I disagree.
Let's hear her through anyway.
But supposing the old man did hear the boy say what he told. This phrase? How many times has each of you used it? Probably hundreds. If you do that once more, Junior, I'm going to murder you. Or your husband yells, "Come on, Rocky, kill him." We say it every day. This doesn't really mean we're going to kill someone.
Don't the circumstances alter that?
Yeah, the old man was murdered.
One more thing, the phrase was, "I'm going to kill you." And he screamed it at the top of his lungs. Now don't try and tell me he didn't mean it. Anyone who says a thing like that the way he said it, they mean it.
How they mean it.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you really think he would shout out a thing like that to the whole neighborhood here? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
Right? He's a common ignorant slob. You don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
Boy is bright enough.
I'd like to change my vote to not guilty.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay. The vote is 9-3 in favor of guilty.
I would like to know why you changed your vote.
I think there's a doubt.
Where? What is the doubt?
There's the knife.
Oh, fine. She talked you into believing a fairy tale.
Hush. Go on. Give us the reasons.
There's the old man, too. Maybe he didn't lie, but then again, maybe he did. Maybe he didn't like the boy.
Well, that is at the end.
I think there's a reasonable doubt.
What are you basing it on? Stories that this woman made up? She had to write for Amazing Detective Monthly. She'd make fortunes. Listen, the boy had a lawyer, didn't he? Why didn't his lawyer bring up all of these facts?
Lawyers can't think of everything.
You sit in here and you pull stories out of thin air. And now we're supposed to believe that the old man didn't get out of bed and run to the door and see the boy running down the stairs 15 seconds after the killing.
That's testimony, I believe.
And the old man, he swore to it. He swore to it just so he could feel important.
Did the old man say he ran to the door?
Ran, walked. What's the difference? He got there.
Well, I don't remember what he said, but I don't see how he could run.
He said he went. I remember it now. He went from his bedroom to the front door.
That's enough, isn't it?
Where was his bedroom again?
Down the hallway somewhere.
Down the hall somewhere? Are we really just seeing a boy off to die because his bedroom is down the hall somewhere?
I thought you remembered everything. Don't you remember
No,
that?
I don't remember any of those stories. I'd like to see the diagram of the apartment again, Madam Foreman.
Why don't we just have him run the whole trial over again?
Yeah.
Just so you can get everything straight.
The bedroom is down the hall somewhere. Do you know? Do you know exactly where it is? Please, a boy's life is at stake here. Do you know? Madam Foreman.
I heard you.
All right, what's this one for? How come you're the only one who wants to see the exhibits all the time?
I'd like to see this one too.
So do
Yeah, and I want to stop wasting time.
We're not going to start wading through the business about where the body was found, are we?
We're not. We're going to see how an old man who's had 2 strokes in the past 3 years and walks with a pair of canes can get to his front door in 15 seconds?
He said 20 seconds.
He said,
How does he know how long 15 seconds is? You can't judge that kind of thing.
He said 15. He was very positive about it.
He's an old man. You saw that. Half the time he was confused. How could he be positive about anything? Well, you know.
no, I don't know. Maybe you know.
That's what you wanted? Sure. Yeah.
Want this?
Do me a favor. Wake me up when this is over.
We looked at that thing for 2 hours. Enough is enough.
He has a right.
Go ahead.
All right. This is the diagram of the apartment in which the killing took place. The old man's apartment is directly beneath it, and exactly the same. Here are the yell tracks, the bedroom, another bedroom, the living room, the kitchen, the bathroom, and this is the hall. Here's the front door to the apartment, and here are the steps. Now, the old man was in bed in this room. He says he got up, went into the hall, down the hall, opened the front door, and looked out just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right?
That's the story.
15 seconds after the body found. His bed is at the window. It's 12 feet from his bed to the bedroom door. The length of the hall is 43 feet 6 inches. He had to get up out of bed, get his cane, walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet, open the front door, all in 15 seconds. Do you think this is possible?
You know it's possible.
I don't see why
He would
not.
have been in a hurry. He did hear a scream.
He can only walk very slowly. They had to help him into the witness checks.
You make it sound like it's a long walk. It's not.
For an old man who uses 2 canes, it's a long walk.
What are you doing?
I'm going to try this thing. Let's see how long it took him. I'm going to pace off 12 feet. 2, 3, 4. The length of the bedroom.
Are you crazy? You can't recreate a thing like that.
Perhaps if we can see it, this is an important point.
It's a ridiculous waste of time.
Let her do it.
I can't see any harm in it.
It's foolish, but go ahead.
This is the bedroom door. How far would you say it is from here to the door of this room?
I'd say it was 20 feet.
No problem.
Okay, 20 feet is close enough. So from here to the door and back is 40 feet. It's shorter than the length of the hall the old man had to move through, wouldn't you say?
A few feet, maybe.
Like, this is absolutely insane. What makes you think you can do this?
We can't stop her.
Do you mind if I try it? According to you, it'll only take 15 seconds. We can spare that. Okay? Stomp your foot when you want me to start. That'll be the body clock. Okay. Let's say he keeps his canes right at his bedside, right?
Right.
I'm ready.
I'm waiting for the
Speed it up and walk twice as fast as that. I think this is even more quickly than the old man moved in.
No, it isn't.
A little faster.
Yes.
Speed it up a little.
Stop. 39 seconds.
That can't be.
And the old man's forearm says it was 15.
She may have been a little bit off with the speed that the old man moved at. 24 seconds off.
Far be it from me to call anyone a liar, but even a liar is only different from speed between the old man and you. Still, there's quite a
discrepancy. It's my guess that he was trying to get to the door, heard someone racing down the stairs, and assumed it was him.
Assumed? Now, everyone, listen to me. I've seen all kinds of dishonesty, but this little display takes the cake.
What dishonesty?
You tell me. You come in here with your heart bleeding all over the floor about the slums and injustice, and you make up these wild stories. But you got a couple of soft-hearted old ladies listening to you. Well, I'm not. I'm a little sick of you. What's wrong with you people? This kid is guilty. He's got to burn. We're letting him slip through our fingers.
Our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid for nothing? You bet I'd like to pull the switch.
I'm sorry.
Don't you start with me.
What it must feel like to pull the switch.
Shut up.
You're a sadist.
You shut up.
You want to see this boy die because it would satisfy you personally, not because of the facts? You disgust me.
Shut up and let me go. I'll kill her. I'll kill her.
I'll
Yo, I'll kill her.
You don't really mean you're going to kill me, do you?
Is there anything wrong?
What are you?
I don't see why we have to act like children.
Nor do I. We have a responsibility. This is the remarkable thing about democracy. If we were, the word, notified, that we were notified by mail to come down to this place to decide on the guilt or innocence of a person, of a man or woman we've not known before. We have nothing to gain or lose by our vote. That is the reason why we are so strong. But we should not make it a personal thing.
Thank you very much.
Why do you thank me?
We forget. It's good to be reminded.
I'm glad we're going to be civilized about this.
Well, we're still nowhere.
Oh, we're somewhere. We're getting there. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Who has an idea?
I think we should take another vote. Madam Clerk?
It's all right with me. Anybody doesn't want to vote? Let's vote.
So, okay, let's do it.
I want an open ballot. Let's call our votes out. I want to see who stands where.
That seems fair. Anyone object? All right, I'll call off your jury numbers. I vote guilty. Number 2,
Not guilty.
3,
Guilty.
4,
Guilty.
5,
Not
6,
Not guilty.
7,
Guilty.
8,
Not guilty.
9,
Not guilty.
10, guilty. 11,
Not guilty.
12.
Guilty.
Well, that's 6 to 6.
I'll tell you something. The crime is being committed in this room.
The vote is 6 to 6.
I'm ready to walk into court right now and declare a hung jury. There's no point in this going on anymore.
Yeah.
I'd like to know why you changed your mind. And why you changed your mind. And why you did. There are 6 jurors in here who seem to think we are letting a murderer loose on the streets. Emotion won't do. Why?
Well, it doesn't seem that the old man was able to see the boy run down the stairs. And I don't think he heard someone scream, "I'm going to kill you." All men dream. And even if he did hear the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you," we now have the authority of this person to prove that it may not really mean he's going to kill.
Why don't we just take it to the judge and let the boy take his chances? Call him other jurors.
6 to 6? I don't think we'll ever agree on
It's got to be
anything.
unanimous. And we're never going to convince her.
At first I was alone. Now 5 others agree. There is a doubt.
Yeah, well, you're not going to convince me that there's a doubt, because I know there isn't no
I
doubt.
tell you what, maybe we are a hung jury. It happens
We're not
sometimes.
going to be a hung jury.
But we are right now. A perfect balance. Let's take it to the judge.
If there's a reasonable doubt, I don't see it.
The doubt is in our mind.
Maybe we should vote.
What do you mean vote?
Vote on what?
Are we or aren't we a hung jury?
You mean we vote yes, we are a hung jury, or no, that we're not a hung jury?
That's just what I was thinking of.
I don't think we could agree on whether or not we should. We can't even agree on whether or not the window should be open.
Let's make it a majority vote. The majority wins.
So if 7 or more of us vote yes, that we're a hung jury, we take it to the judge and we tell her we're a hung jury.
Right. And if 7 or more vote no, that means we aren't a hung jury. We go on discussing it.
It doesn't seem quite right to me.
The only solution.
I agree. It's the only way.
Anything to end this.
We agreed then? 7 or more votes yes, we take it to the judge?
Let's call our votes out.
All right. I vote yes, we're a hung jury. Number 2,
No.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5,
No.
6, 7.
Yeah.
8,
No.
9,
No.
10,
Yes.
11, 12.
Yes.
It's 6 to 6.
We can't even get a majority to decide whether or not we are a hung jury.
I went along with the majority vote on this question, and I didn't agree with voting that way. Not really. And I still don't. But I'm changing my vote to no. You're not a hung jury. I still believe the boy is guilty, but there are still some things I want to find out from those who've changed their minds.
Then we aren't a hung jury. So we go on.
Good, we go on.
Why did you change your mind?
She seems so sure and has made a number of good points, while he only gets mad and insults everybody.
But does the anger and insult change the guilt of the boy? He did do it. Are you going to turn a murderer loose just because one of the jurors gets angry when he thinks a murderer is being turned loose?
That's true.
There is a doubt.
I don't think so. The track was straight in front of the window. Let's take that point. So an L train would make a low rumbling noise. The L trains screech when they go around curves. And the old man could have heard a scream which is high in pitched, and it's a tenement and they have thin walls.
Good. That's it. That's it.
Then, what if the old man was wrong about the time it took him to get to the door, but right about who he saw? Please remember, there weren't any fingerprints on the knife.
Now, I want you to listen to this lady. She's talking sense.
It may have taken the murderer a few seconds to get a handkerchief out and wipe the fingerprints away.
Good point.
Why don't we just time this one and see?
Just what are we timing?
Yes, let's be exact, please.
I'm saying that the old man might have been wrong about the time, but that he was right about whom he saw. It may have taken the murderer maybe 35 seconds to get a handkerchief out and run down the stairs and get to the point where the old man saw him. The boy, that is.
This is right.
We reconstructed the old man getting out of bed and going to the door, and we timed that. Now let's reconstruct the actual crime.
As well as we can reconstruct it.
I think a murderer can use up to 30 or 40 seconds pretty easily at that point.
Well, let's reconstruct the killing.
Yeah.
Here. Why don't you be the one that does the stabbing?
No. I'll do it.
Why don't you be the one that gets stabbed? Don't forget, you take a second to fall.
He was found on his side, his right side. So be sure to fall and roll onto your right side. If someone hits another person enough to kill him, well, don't you think the murderer would take a second or two to look at his victim?
Well, try to divorce yourself from this particular case.
That seems reasonable.
Oh, wait. He falls and ends up on his right side, but stabbing someone is different from shooting them, even if it's right in the heart. You know, he would have worked around on the ground for a few seconds. I don't know, writhing me.
It's quite possible. There would have been enough oxygen in his system to carry him for 2 or 3 seconds, I should think.
Wouldn't the father have cried out?
Maybe the boy held his mouth.
That also seems possible.
Well, there's another point we might bring out. Anyone who is clear enough mentally to kill someone and wipe the fingerprints off, well, that person's also clear enough mentally to look around the apartment, or the room in this case, and see if there are any other clues. Well, it would be for a second, but still, they would look around.
This gets better and better.
for trying to make it clear. One does not discuss quality where murder is involved. Let's do it.
About this on the fingerprints. The boy wiped the fingerprints off the knife. Well, what about the doorknob? If I saw a man coming into my home, a man who hated me, and if he was wiping the doorknob with a handkerchief as he came in, I'd start screaming. I think even a man would have an uneasy feeling. So the doorknobs must have been wiped after the killing, and this too would take time.
You time the last one. You time this one too?
Yeah, sure.
Stomp your foot when you want me to start. And you time they want me to start.
I'm waiting for
I'm
the
sorry,
end.
yes, I'm sorry.
I'm going to kill you! You would have wiped both doorknobs. Stop.
29 and a half seconds.
And whoever killed the father, and I believe it was the boy, still had to run down the hall and down the stairs, at least one flight of stairs.
See? You see?
So the old man might have been wrong about the time, but in view of this, I think it's quite reasonable to assume he saw the boy running down the stairs.
So now both time sequences check, the one that we did and the one you did, with running down the stairs and everything. It pretty much does check out on time.
Yeah, sure. It's an old man who wants attention. She's probably right. The old man feels the way everybody does. A life is at stake.
So the story of the old man may very well be true.
Except for the fact that he absolutely swore, under oath, that it was 15 seconds.
We seem to all agree it was 25 to 35 seconds later.
You are now admitting that the old man lied in one case and told the truth in the other. I admit that this does tend to confirm the story of the old man, but in part he is now a proven liar, and this is by your own admission.
That may be true that the old man lies in part, but I think it's going to change my vote again. Guilty.
All right.
And what about you? What do you think?
I don't know, I just want to talk some more. First I thought he was guilty, and then I changed my mind, and now I'm swinging back to guilty.
And what about you?
No, I'm in real doubt now. Real doubt.
I said guilty. I was right the first time.
Now we're beginning to make some sense in here.
Seems to be 9 to 3 in favor of guilty.
One more thing about the old man downstairs. How many of you live in an apartment building?
I don't know what you're thinking, but I know what I'm thinking.
What's that?
I do not live in a tenement, but it is close. There's just enough light in the hall so that you can see the steps. No more. The light bulbs are so small. This murder took place in the tenement. Do you remember how we stumbled on the steps?
The police officers had to use flashlights and we could see around.
This old man, who misjudged the time by 20 seconds, on this we all agree, this same old man was able to look down the dark hallway of a tenement and recognize a running figure.
He was 100% wrong about the time. It took twice as long as he thought.
Then could he not be 100% wrong about who he saw?
Exactly.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You're making that up out of thin air.
We are a hung jury, let's just be honest about it. Do you truly feel there's no room for reasonable doubt?
Yes, I do.
I beg your pardon, but perhaps you don't understand the term reasonable doubt.
What do you mean I don't understand it? Who are you to talk to me like that? How do you like this babe? She comes over here running for her life, and before she can take a big breath, she's telling us how to run our lives. The nerve of her!
No one is asking where anyone came from,
I was born right here.
or anyone's mother.
Maybe it wouldn't hurt us to take a few tips from the people who come running here. Maybe they learn something we don't know. We're not so perfect.
Please, it's all right. I'm used to it.
It's not all right.
Okay. Okay, I apologize. Is that what you want?
That's what I want.
Let's stop arguing. Who's got something constructive to say?
Well, something has been bothering me a little bit. The whole business about the stab wound and how it was made. The downward angle of it.
Don't start with us again. They went over and over again in court.
I know that they did, but I don't go along with it. The boy is 5 feet 8 inches tall, and his father was 6 feet 2 inches tall. That's a difference of 6 inches. It's a really awkward thing to stab down into the chest of someone.
Look,
who's
you're not going to be
a house taller
satisfied.
than you are.
You're not going to be satisfied until you see it again. I'm going to give you a demonstration. Somebody get up. Somebody get up. Okay. Everyone pay attention. I'm only going to do this once. Is this 6 inches?
That's more than 6 inches.
Okay, let it be more.
Are you kidding?
That's not funny.
Okay, calm down. Nobody's hurt.
No, nobody's hurt.
All right, take a look. Here's your ring. Down and in. That's how I've stabbed someone who's taller than me, and that's how it's done. Take a look at it. Down and in. Take a look at it and tell me I'm wrong.
Down and in. I guess there's no argument.
Have you ever stabbed anyone?
Of course not.
Did you?
All right, let's not be silly.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
Then how do you get all your information about how it's done?
What do you mean? It's just common sense.
Have you ever seen anyone stabbed?
No.
I want to ask all of you something. This boy was an experienced knife fighter. I mean, he was sent to reform school for stabbing someone. Isn't that so?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, look at this. Doesn't it seem like an awkward way to handle a knife?
What are you asking me for?
Think about it.
Wait a minute, what's the matter with you? Let me see that knife.
Have you ever seen a knife fight?
Yes, I have.
In the movies?
In my backyard, on my stoop, in the vacant lot across the street. Too many of them. Switch knives came with the neighborhood where I lived. Funny, I didn't think of it before. Guess I'm trying to forget those things. Anyone who's ever used a switch knife would never have stabbed downward. You don't handle a switch knife that way. Use it underhand.
Then he couldn't have made the wound that killed his father.
I suppose it's conceivable that he could have made the wound, but it's not likely. Not for anyone who had any experience with a switch knife. And we all know the boys had lots of experience.
I don't believe it.
Neither do I. You're giving us a lot of mumbo jumbo.
I don't know.
What about you?
Listen, I'll tell you all something. I'm a little sick of this whole thing already. Stop all this arguing and just go home.
Before we decide anything else, I'd like to pull this thing together.
Oh, this should be good.
Let's listen. Do you want me to turn this?
Let's hear her.
I'm in advertising. I love to see things pulled together. It makes for great layouts. Why don't we just take a step back and look at the big picture and try to see if there's some sort of pattern here. Try to get a fresh point of view.
I want you all to look at this logically and consistently.
We have guilty.
I want to know, is the boy smart or is the boy dumb?
What do you mean?
This is a boy who has gone to reform school for stabbing someone. The night of the murder, he buys a knife. It would then take a very stupid boy to murder me, his father, with an instrument that everyone would associate with the sun.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. He's dumb.
However, if you were dumb, then why did you make the kind of wound an inexperienced man would make with a knife?
I'm not sure I understand.
To murder someone must take great emotion, great hatred. And at that moment, he would handle the knife as best he could. And a trained knife fighter would handle it as he'd been trained, underhand. A man who had not been trained would go overhand. But this boy is being very smart. Everyone knows he's an experienced knife fighter. So he's smart enough in that moment to make the kind of wound an amateur would. This boy is smart. Smart enough to wipe the fingerprints away, perhaps even smart enough to wait until the L train was going by to cover the noise. Now, is he smart or is he dumb?
No, wait a minute.
Well, the woman across the L tracks saw the murder through the L train. So someone on that L train could have seen the murder too.
A possibility, but no one that we know of.
It would take an awfully dumb man to take that chance and do the murder right as the train was going by.
Exactly, a dumb man, a very stupid man, a man swept up by emotion. He probably heard nothing. He probably didn't hear the train going by. And whoever did murder the father did as best as he could.
So,
The boy is dumb enough to do everything to associate himself with the knife, a switchblade murder. And then a moment after the murder, he's smart. He's smart enough in that moment to make the kind of wound that would lead us to suspect someone else, yet at the same instant he's dumb enough to do the killing as the train is going by. Then a moment later, he's smart enough to wipe the fingerprints away. To make this boy guilty, you have to say he's dumb from about 8 o'clock to around midnight. And then midnight he's smart for 1 second. Then he's dumb for a few seconds. Then he's smart. And then he's stupid. So stupid he can't even think of a good alibi? Now is he smart or is he dumb? To say this boy is guilty, you have to toss his intelligence like a pancake. There is doubt, doubt, doubt. I hadn't thought of that. And the old man downstairs? On the stand, he swore it was 15 seconds. He insisted it was 15 seconds. But we all agreed it was almost 40 seconds.
Does the old man lie half of the time and then tell the truth the other half of the time?
For the boy to be guilty, he would have to be stupid, then smart, then stupid, then smart, and so on. And also for the boy to be guilty, the old man would have to lie half the time and tell the truth the other half of the time. You can reasonably doubt.
I'm sold on reasonable doubt.
I think I am too.
I want it more talking now I've had it.
I want another vote.
Okay, there's another vote called for. I guess the quickest way is a show of hands. Anyone object? All right. All those voting not guilty, raise your hand. Okay, 9. Guilty. The vote is 9-3 in favor of acquittal.
I don't understand you people. How can you believe this boy is innocent? Look, you know how those people lie. I don't have to tell you. They don't know what the truth is. Let me tell you, they don't need any real good reason to kill someone either. You know, they get drunk and bang, someone's lying in the gutter. That's how they are, you know what I mean? Human life don't mean as much to them as it does to us. Look, these people are drinking and fighting all the time, and if somebody gets killed, somebody gets killed. They don't care. Oh, sure, there are some good things about them too. Look, I'm the first to say that. I've known a few that were pretty decent, but that's the exception. Most of them, it's like they have no feelings. They can do anything. Hey, what's going on here? I'm speaking my piece, and you listen to me. They're no good. There's not a one of them who's any good. Take it from me. We better watch out. This boy on trial. Don't you know about them? Hey, what are you doing? Listen to me. I'm trying to tell you.
I've had enough. If you open your mouth one more time, I'm going to scratch your eyes out. All right. I still believe the boy is guilty of murder. And I will tell you why. To me, the most damning piece of evidence was given by the woman across the street who saw it.
That's right. As far as I'm concerned, that's the most important testimony.
Okay. What was her testimony? What exactly did she say?
I believe I can recount it accurately. She said she went to bed at about 11 o'clock that night. Her bed was next to an open window, and she could see directly into the window across the street while lying down. She tossed and turned for over an hour, unable to fall asleep. And finally, at about 12:10, she turned toward the window, and as she looked out, she saw his father. As far as I can see, this is an unshakable testimony.
That's what I mean. That's the whole case.
Frankly, I can't see how you could vote for acquittal. What do you think?
Maybe. There's so much evidence to sift.
What do you mean maybe? She's absolutely right. You can throw out all the other evidence.
Yes, that was my thought. I don't deny the validity of the point she has made. Shall we say, on one side of the tracks there is a doubt. But what can you say about the woman's testimony? She saw it.
What time is it?
About 10 minutes or 6. You know, it's supposed to let us come home and finish this in the morning.
My little girl has chicken pox.
Not a chance.
You can't see the clock without your glasses?
Not clearly. Glasses are a nuisance, aren't they?
But what do you all do at night when you wake up and you want to know what time it is?
I put on my glasses and look at the clock.
Right. I just lie in bed and wait for the clock to chime.
So you don't wear your glasses to bed.
Nobody wears glasses to bed.
The lady who testified, she wears glasses. What about her?
Did she wear glasses? Of course. She wore bifocals. She never took them off.
It's funny. Never thought of that.
I think it's logical to say that she was not wearing her glasses in bed. And I don't think she would put them on to glance casually out the window. She testified the murder took place the instant she looked out, and that the lights went out a split second later. She couldn't have had time to put her glasses on by then. Now perhaps the woman honestly thought she saw the boy kill his father? I'd say she only saw a blur.
How do you know what she saw? Maybe she's far-sighted. How does she know all these things?
Does anyone still believe there is no reasonable doubt?
Always wondered. But there is a reasonable doubt.
I think he's guilty.
Does anyone else?
I'm convinced now. There is a reasonable doubt.
You're alone.
11 votes not guilty, 1 guilty.
I don't care whether I'm alone or not. I have a right.
Yes, you have a right.
Well, I told you. I think the boy's guilty. What else do you
Your
want?
arguments.
I gave you my
We're not
arguments.
convinced. We're waiting to hear them again. We have time.
What's the matter with you? You're the one who gave all the arguments. Guilty man's gonna be walking the streets, a murderer. Stay with me.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm convinced now. I don't think I'm wrong often. But I guess I was this once. There is a reasonable doubt in my mind.
We're waiting.
You're not gonna sway me. I'm entitled to my opinion. It's gonna be a hung jury. That's
There's
it.
nothing we can do except hope that maybe in a few months that you might be able to get some sleep.
You're all alone.
Takes a great deal of courage to stay alone.
If we're a hung jury, there will be another trial. And we will bring these points to the various lawyers.
not guilty.
Not guilty.
I put
reading up on reports of this event. Mine has like nothing in it. I put that the audience was really receptive. I think my mom's mad because, well, she's not mad, but she likes it. I mean, I like the idea of blonde. What was it? It was oh, I know that song. Oh, yeah.